Airports have long been more than just transit points for global celebrities. They are modern stages, unpredictable, unscripted, and intensely observed. Every step, glance, gesture, and silence can become a headline, especially when it involves an artist whose presence alone can command worldwide attention. Such was the case recently when Park Jimin of BTS and Lee Jusang were spotted in the same airport space, creating a moment that was neither loud nor dramatic, yet instantly resonated across social media and fan communities. It was subtle, almost fleeting, but undeniably striking. This article explores that moment in depth: its atmosphere, context, visual details, emotional undercurrents, public reaction, and why something so quiet could spark such widespread discussion. In an era dominated by spectacle, the encounter between Park Jimin and Lee Jusang stood out precisely because it did not try to. The airport as a cultural stage for global artists like Park Jimin, airports are not merely places of departure and arrival. They are symbolic thresholds between countries, schedules, identities, and roles. Fans, photographers, journalists, and casual travelers all converge in these spaces, creating an environment charged with anticipation. Korean entertainment culture, in particular, has transformed airport appearances into a unique form of public communication. Fashion choices, body language, and interactions are often read as statements, whether intentional or not. Within this context, even the smallest interaction can carry amplified meaning. On this day, there was no press conference, no official statement, no grand gesture, yet what unfolded between Park Jimin and Lee Jusang quickly became one of the most talked-about airport moments in recent memory. Park Jimin, the power of quiet presence. Park Jimin's public image has evolved significantly over the years. From his early days as a vibrant performer known for powerful dance lines and emotional vocals, he has grown into an artist whose presence is defined by nuance and restraint. His movements are often gentle, his expressions controlled, yet his impact remains immense. At the airport, Jimin embodied this quiet authority. Dressed in a minimalist outfit that balanced comfort and refinement, he moved with calm assurance. There was no rush, no exaggerated gesture to cameras or fans. Known within industry circles for his steady demeanor and thoughtful approach, Jusang's presence added a different energy to the scene, one that complemented rather than competed with Jimin's. Observers noted that Lee Jusang appeared equally composed, maintaining a respectful distance while remaining clearly aware of Jimin's presence. Instead, his demeanor suggested focus and inward reflection, an artist in transition rather than performance mode. This calmness set the tone for the entire moment. Lee Jusang. A grounded counterpart, Lee Jusang, while less globally recognized than Jimin, carries his own reputation for professionalism and composure. There was no attempt to draw attention, no performative interaction for cameras. Instead, his body language suggested familiarity mixed with discretion. This balance between recognition and restraint became one of the defining features of the moment. The moment itself, small, precise, memorable. What exactly happened? There was no handshake captured dramatically, no prolonged conversation overheard. Instead, the moment consisted of a brief exchange of eye contact, a subtle nod, and a shared pause that lasted only seconds. To the untrained eye, it might have seemed insignificant. To fans and observers accustomed to reading the language of celebrity interactions, it was loaded with meaning. The pause was particularly striking. In a bustling airport filled with movement and noise, that brief stillness created a visual contrast. It felt intentional, even if spontaneous, a recognition of presence rather than a display of closeness. It was not about what was said, but what was acknowledged. Fashion, as silent communication fashion, often plays a critical role in airport appearances, and this occasion was no exception. Park Jimin's outfit was understated yet meticulously styled. Neutral tones, clean lines, and subtle accessories. It reflected maturity and control, aligning with his recent artistic direction. Lee Jusang's attire, similarly restrained, suggested professionalism and alignment rather than contrast. Together, their styles created a visual harmony that reinforced the tone of the interaction: calm, respectful, and unassuming. Fans later described the scene as cinematic, noting how the simplicity of the visuals made the emotional undertones more powerful. Fan reactions, reading between the lines within, minutes of photos and short clips appearing online, Fan communities began analyzing every detail. Screenshots were shared, slowed-down videos circulated, and timelines reconstructed. The lack of overt interaction only fueled curiosity. Some fans interpreted the moment as a sign of mutual respect between two professionals navigating a shared space. Others saw it as symbolic of growth, artists acknowledging one another without needing validation or spectacle. What stood out was the tone of the discussion. Unlike more chaotic airport moments, reactions were largely reflective rather than explosive. Words like gentle, mature, quietly powerful, and meaningful dominated online commentary. Media coverage. When silence becomes news media, outlets quickly picked up the story, framing it as an example of how understated moments can resonate more deeply than dramatic ones. Headlines emphasized subtlety and emotional impact rather than scandal or speculation. This type of coverage reflects a broader shift in entertainment journalism, where audiences increasingly value authenticity over spectacle. The Park Jimin Jusang moment fit perfectly into this narrative, offering something that felt real rather than staged. It also highlighted how Park Jimin's public image has reached a point where even silence becomes communicative. Cultural context. Why subtlety matters. In Korean culture, subtle gestures often carry significant weight. Respect is shown through posture, timing, and restraint, rather than overt displays. The interaction between Jimin and Jusang can be understood within this framework, a moment of acknowledgement that did not need explanation. For international fans, this cultural context added another layer of appreciation. Many noted that the moment felt very Korean in its elegance and restraint, deepening their respect for both individuals involved. The psychology of presence. From a psychological perspective, the impact of the moment can be attributed to presence. Park Jimin did not need to perform. His mere awareness of his surroundings and the people within them created a sense of gravity. Lee Jusang's response mirrored this presence, resulting in a shared space that felt balanced and intentional. This alignment is rare in public settings dominated by chaos and attention-seeking behavior. It reminded observers that confidence often manifests in stillness. Comparisons to past airport moments. Park Jimin has experienced countless airport appearances throughout his career, many of them marked by overwhelming crowds and intense emotion. Compared to those moments, this encounter felt almost minimalist. Fans drew comparisons to earlier years, noting how Jimin's energy has shifted from outward expression to inward calm. The interaction with Lee Jusang seemed to encapsulate this evolution, a snapshot of an artist who no longer needs to prove anything. Symbolism and interpretation. Some fans interpreted the moment symbolically, viewing it as a meeting point between different paths within the same industry. Others saw it as a reflection of mutual understanding in a world that often demands constant performance. Importantly, the lack of explicit explanation allowed for multiple interpretations. This openness is part of what made the moment so compelling. It invited reflection rather than dictating meaning. Social media. Longevity. Unlike viral moments that burn brightly and fade quickly, this airport interaction showed signs of longevity. Discussions continued for days, with fans revisiting the images and clips, creating fan art, essays, and thoughtful threads. The moment became less about the airport itself and more about what it represented: maturity, respect, and the power of understated connection. Industry implications. Within the entertainment industry, moments like this are often quietly appreciated.